Hey guys, how are you? Happy Memorial Day. Welcome into a very special edition of the Daily Juice podcast. My name is Matt Peralt. You can follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt, and I am coming to you from a very unique place. If you are watching this on YouTube, you are seeing me from my hotel balcony. If you are listening to this, you probably think that Matt sounds very different. You may hear some music in the background from the pool that's a little bit over the ways, and we are here in Arizona. I wish I could show you guys the view that I've got, but I've got Lake Powell, which is all right behind me, which is gorgeous here in Arizona, and we've had a really fun time here over the last couple of days. And so I'm doing this podcast today before we go to dinner because, well, there's not great Wi-Fi here. So I've got to go and drive to a Starbucks to go and upload this thing so you guys can have the Daily Juice on a Monday. So if you guys ever wonder the stuff we got to do to make it happen, these are the things we got to do to make this podcast happen when you're on vacation for a long weekend. So the video looks okay. I mean, it looks different, but it looks okay. So I think we're okay with our video. Hopefully the audio is going to be okay as well for you guys here. The Vegas Golden Knights, they are playing right now up against the Colorado Avalanche. The under is in danger. It's 2-0 Colorado. I mean, maybe a 4-1 win for Colorado, and we wound up getting the under, and we go 3-0, but we got the Atlanta Hawks to win, covering that 4.5-point line. And we got the other bet, which I'm blanking on today. Well, I know, the under for the Lakers and the Suns. I was actually watching that in a sports bar, which is kind of interesting. There was a huge crowd of people who were there in Arizona watching this, obviously here in Arizona. So a lot of Phoenix Suns fans, they were pretty psyched to see Anthony Davis get hurt. And that helped us a lot with the Suns winning, but also with the under coming in really easily. 209, I think 192 wound up being the total for that one. So, and I was stuck. So actually, I got saved a little bit because I was saying on the Discord channel, I'm at this sports bar, and I'm like, hey, we could middle this if you guys want to think about middling it. And the number kept on crashing, and I was like, well, just wait and see. I thought 195 might be the basement, but it wasn't. 192 was the final. So I actually got saved a little bit, but not having to bet that because I can't bet here. I have to use some alternative motives, but for live wagering, that just wasn't going to happen where I was. So I've got 3 plays for you guys coming up here tonight for the podcast. And look, if you guys haven't used the BetMGM offer, you can use it right ahead. BetMGM, you can bet $20 to win $100 on any event using that promo code JUICE100 when you sign up at BetMGM or on the application for BetMGM as well. So use it. It's a great way of saying thank you. We always say you got the gear. I sport my Daily Juice t-shirts and hats and everything else no matter where I wind up going. So hopefully you guys can buy a t-shirt or two if you would like to be a part of what we do every single morning here for the Daily Juice podcast. Okay, so a couple of them, and I went yesterday with kind of on the same situation where I was following the trends of the things I've done really for the last couple of weeks and not trying to overthink things too much and just sort of rolling with what my eyes are telling me and what the series are looking like here in the postseason. And the Utah Jazz are taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. If you guys remember, I was really high on Utah. In fact, I bet Utah to sweep the Grizzlies. It didn't happen, right? Grizzlies won game 1, and then everything changed. And so when everything changed, it was like, oh my gosh, is Memphis going to be in this series? And so I bet Memphis in the last game, and obviously it didn't happen. They didn't cover. So I thought if there was going to be a game that they might be able to come back and cover, it was going to be game 3. I think this series is going to be over in 5. I think Utah is going to win today. I think Utah is going to blow out, actually, Memphis. That was game 3 was the game they could have had. And I think Utah plays a whole lot better. I think Donovan Mitchell is starting to feel it a little bit. Only got to lay 5 points here, okay? And I want to say that there's going to be a big output that Ja Morant's going to get out and play and score a ton of points, and he might. But really, if Utah doesn't get a 30-point night from Ja Morant or even a 40-point night from Ja Morant, they're kind of stuck. They really don't have a lot of answers for what happens defensively, what Utah puts out there. And Utah just runs waves at you. And whether it be Mitchell or Conley or Gobert or whoever they're going to run at you, I just feel like there's a real big problem here for Memphis. And Valanciunas really can't score all that often. He looks kind of lost. I don't know what's going on with him, but he just doesn't look like the same type of guy here up against Gobert in this defensive effort. He just can't get to his strong shoulder. They don't let him get to his power shoulder. So he can't score the way he normally would score. And so this, to me, is kind of the same story of Game 3. I just think 5 points. I'm going to lay the 5 points here with the Utah Jazz, and I think the Utah Jazz are going to come in and score kind of at will. And I'm going to take Utah to wind up winning here today and covering that 5 points for a half a unit here for our first play on the podcast. our second play in the podcast, we've got 2 hockey bets for you coming up. And again, I'm not going to fight myself. I'm going to follow myself. I fought myself trying to grab a hold of a play by saying, okay, maybe we see let's go under 5 in the first game for the Bruins and the Islanders. And what happened? It went flying over. Well, the number is 5 again here, okay? And it's actually juiced to minus 130, 5 to the over. I think both these offenses are better than what the books are thinking. I think both these offenses can score, and I think there's a real good chance that we wind up with a 4-2 win on one side or the other. And it could be New York. The Islanders may be able to open things up a little bit. Tuukka Rask might not play very well, and maybe there's a step backwards here, a chance for the Islanders to get in. But, I mean, I know the play probably should be the 5 in the under, but I'm going to bet 5 in the over. And I'm just going to go back to what I've been talking about, and I'm not going to screw myself in back-to-back, bets and not follow what I've been following. When I see 5, we bet over. Like, it just automatically, we bet over. And I got kind of stupid in the first one, and it's 5 again, and the books are just thinking this is going to be a low-scoring series. And I think the Islanders are better offensively than the books think. I think the Bruins have an offense that can really click and score at will, and I think the Garden's rocking, and there's just so many people fired up and excited to watch and see what's going to happen here in this game. So I think Tyler Hall has been such a great addition, and maybe we'll see a bunch of power plays in this game that could lead to a lot of scoring. So I'm just going to grab the 5 and bet the over, and just say, okay, there's a real good chance we push. It feels like a 3-2 win one way or the other. I'm not going to deny that, but I think there's a chance we get an open net goal and a chance that we get a late score and we wind up getting ourselves into a situation where we do cover the 5. So I'm just going to take the 5. I'm going to bet the over. I'll lay the juice here at minus 135, 130, somewhere in that range. It's 130 for me, actually. Minus 130, and bet the 5 over 5 for Boston and the New York Islanders, and hope that we see the New York Islanders score early to make Boston open up. And not really, the thing that scares me the most is if the Islanders were to get like a 2-0 lead, they'll just sit on it. So that's what I really want to hope. I hope that does not happen. The Islanders, if that doesn't happen, I think we're good. I think the Islanders are going to wind up having a chance to score a couple of goals here, and then Boston has a chance to score 3 or 4 goals. So I don't hate a play in the Boston over team total either. I think Boston's going to score 3 goals. Sorokin's a really good goaltender. He's played really well in the postseason, but I think the atmosphere in Boston just is really special. And, Boston is a heavy favorite in this series for a reason. But when this series goes back to New York, I think we're going to see a much different type of matchup. But for this game today, I'm taking Boston over 5 at minus 130 against the Islanders for game number 2. And for our third play here today, can we talk about the Montreal Canadiens for just 1 second up against the Toronto Maple Leafs? You know where I'm going with this, right? There's no way in hell I'm betting the Toronto Maple Leafs here. This is strictly just a value play for me, okay? And if you don't want to bet this, I don't blame you at all. Toronto's the better team on paper. I will give you that. Toronto's got home ice. I'll give you all that. But the last time, Toronto was 12-12 all time in Game 7s, and the last time they won a Game 7 was the last time they won a series against Ottawa in 2004, okay? This has been a long time coming for this team. They are choke artists. They are world-class chokers. This is what they do. They blow leads all the time in the playoffs. And this Game 7, they are going to be so tight for this game. It's too bad that there's not going to be like a big crowd, because that would really help Montreal if there was a ton of crowd. Because if Montreal scores first in this game, the puckering that's going to be going on in the city of Toronto is going to be unbelievable. Look, I got plus 180 odds on the money line, okay? It's a Game 7. Anything can happen. Will Toronto win? Yeah, probably Toronto's going to win. Do I care? No. Do I dare bet Toronto? Hell no. I'm taking the dog, man. Give me Montreal. Hopefully Carey Price stands on his head. Let's see the Canadiens knock out the Toronto Maple Leafs. Let's see an absolute complete choke job once again here. A choke job 2.0. Well, whatever, like 15.0 really for Toronto. This is what they do. They blow leads. They blow wins, and this is just very typical Maple Leafs in the postseason. The entire city is going to be like on pins and needles the entire game, and if Montreal scores first, that's the key. You got to score first, because then all the demons, all the ghosts come rolling back in, and what do? How do they handle it? Again, if you don't want to trail this, I totally understand, but I'm not betting Toronto. There's no way. Montreal gets the overtime victory to force a Game 7 in Game 6. Let's go into a 7, and let's absolutely take the value of the dog here, and let's just take Montreal to see what happens. And again, If you don't want to trail that, I totally understand. I completely and totally get it. But let's just hope for a Montreal Canadiens victory to knock out the Toronto Maple Leafs and take the plus money. I mean, plus 180 is plus 180. I mean, this is crazy. Plus 180 in a Game 7. Are you kidding me? Yes, absolutely. Take the underdog. Take Montreal. Okay? So just 3 plays going today. If you have a chance to do something today that I think would be really beneficial to anybody. If there is a member of your family who has been in the military, if there's a member of your family that serves in our country in any capacity, firefighter, cop, whatever, Memorial Day to me has always been more than just the military. It's really anybody who serves this country, anybody who allows us to do what we do. And that's the police, that's the fire department, that's the EMTs, that's everybody who's in public service who to help us live our lives the way we want to live our lives. And I'm simply not here sitting at Lake Powell, Arizona, staring at this gorgeous landscape, having a conversation with you guys in talking about whatever I want to talk about in America, because we get the chance to do this. There's no police, there's no policing of my language. We're free. It's an awesome reminder. But yes, this is a day off, and yes, this is a time to relax and a time to be with our families and have cookouts and go on vacation. But we can't forget why we're here. Why are we here every day? Why do we get this day off? And for some families, today is really hard. Today is awful. Today is remembering the loved one that is no longer with us. And we should always remember that it's not just a day off. Memorial Day is enjoy the long weekend. I'm not saying not enjoy it. I'm not saying not take the time to have the fun and, recharge your batteries. It's been a really rough year for all of us, as we all know, rough year and a half really for all of us. But Memorial Day is a chance to kind of take a step and to thank those in our family, in our neighborhoods who have dedicated, have given, have served in a way that I never could. And I never had the courage to wear a uniform. And to me, a lot of ways I took the easy way out, holding a microphone and talking for a living. So I'm incredibly thankful for all those men and women who do give me the chance to do this every day. And for Memorial Day, say thank you to that person, because they absolutely have earned it and they absolutely deserve that thanks from all of us here. So from all of us at Betting Pros, from myself, Matt Peralta, at the Daily Juice and the Daily Juice podcast, thank you for all that have served to let us do what we do each and every Memorial Day here on this podcast. All right, to recap the plays, we are going Utah -5 against the Memphis Grizzlies in Game 4 of their best-of-7 series. Over 5 goals for New York in Boston at -130. And we're taking the Montreal Canadiens to win, and Montreal on the money line at +180 to knock out the Toronto Maple Leafs. I won't have player props going today. I'm going to be kayaking on Lake Powell for most of today, and then we'll be getting in the car and driving 4 hours back to Las Vegas. So I won't be able to really monitor much. I won't be able to be on the Discord much. I'll be driving and doing, being out on the water. But then we'll be back tomorrow night in Vegas, and we'll be back in our normal set of circumstances. We'll have the normal backdrop, normal sound to the podcast, and everything else you guys are used to here for the Daily Juice podcast. So very cool stuff. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being a part of our community. To get into the Discord channel, and while dad's away, you guys can go play bettingpros.com/chat, bettingpros.com/chat to get into it. Or if you're watching on YouTube, all the links are right underneath me here on our YouTube channel. My name is Matt Peralt. Follow me on Twitter at SportsTalkMatt every single morning. It's the Daily Juice podcast being brought to you by BetMGM right here on bettingpros.com.